Hey all, Mr. Kemp here, and we're going to learn more about how to tell time. These are more advanced concepts for older boys and girls. Imagine somebody invites you to this birthday party that says, hey, it's going to be a surprise party. Make sure you're there at 10 of 2. Like 10 of 2. Wait a minute. Is that the same thing as 10:02? I'm not sure if 10:02 is the same as 10 of 2. Well, if you show up at 10:02, you're going to be almost 4 hours early to the party. You're going to be way off and you're going to mess up the whole surprise. You've got to understand what people mean when they start saying things like 10 of and quarter after and half past. That's what this lesson is going to teach you, more advanced concepts. So first, real quick, some of the basics that we went over before in the first video. This is 1 o'clock. When the minute hand points straight up, it's right on the o'clock. The hour hand's pointing to the time, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. We're not going to review all of those. Those are the real basic ones. If you're still unsure about that, watch the first video. Here's the other really important ones we talked about. The 15s. All right, 3:15, 3:30, 3:45, and then 4 o'clock. So the 15, when it points when the minute hand's pointing to 3, it's always the 15. That's a very important time to remember. So it's 4:15. When it's pointing straight down the minute hand, it's always the 30. 4:30, 4:45. That's the other important one when it points to the 9, and then back to the next o'clock, 5 o'clock. Here's a fancy way to say it. You might hear people use this language. You need to understand it. Instead of 15, well, think about like the way a circle can be broken down. That's a quarter. That's a quarter of the circle gone by. So they say it's a quarter after 5. This is halfway around the circle. So they might say half past 5. So they could say quarter after 5 or half past 5. And then you get into something really. This is where it starts getting fancy. You know it's 5:45. But you know what? It's also really close to 6 o'clock. It makes a lot more sense to some people to start talking about the 6 o'clock time and say, hey, it's 15 minutes, 5, 10, 15. It's 15 minutes before 6 o'clock. Again, that's a quarter of the circle. So people a lot of times will say, it's quarter of 6. It's not quite 6 o'clock yet. Look at that hour. Look at the hour hand. It's not 6 o'clock yet, but it's quarter of 6. Yeah, there's a quarter hour left to go, so it's quarter of 6. Let's review those again. It's 6 o'clock now. People can say it's quarter after 6. People will say it's half past 6 instead of saying 6:30. Sometimes they'll say half past, or they'll say it's quarter of. Wait a minute, quarter of what? Well, it's almost 7. So they'll say it's quarter of 7. Yes, it's true, it's 6:45, but a lot of people call that quarter of 7 because it makes a lot of sense. There's 7 o'clock. Let's go quicker. Quarter after 7, half past 7, quarter of what? It's quarter of 8. Yeah, it's still 7:45, but we'll call it quarter of 8. Now it's 8. Quarter after 8, half past 8, and here it's almost 9, so we'll say it's quarter of 9. A lot of people will use that lingo, those phrases. There's 9 o'clock. One more time, the easy ones. Quarter after 9, half past 9, quarter of 10, and then 10 o'clock. Now, if you get that most basic concept, great. You're ready for even trickier things. We'll start saying, instead of saying, okay, it's 10:05, we learned that in the first video, 10:05, maybe you just want to say it's 5 after 10. People will use that language, so they'll say 5 after 10 instead of 10:05. Yes, this is 10:10, but you might say it's 10 after 10. You might say it's 20 after 10 instead of saying it's 10:20. Some people will say it's 20 minutes after 10. It's 25 minutes after 10. It's half past 10. All right, 10:30 or half past 10. Again, now we're talking about we're getting closer and closer to being 11 o'clock. Let's work this way. Sure, we can figure it out and say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Yeah, we could say it's 10:55. That's true. But it's almost 11. How many minutes before 11 is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. It's 5 minutes before 11. People will say it's 5 of 11. People will say it's 10 of 11. People will say it's quarter of 11. We already went over that one. They'll even say it's 20 of 11, 20 minutes before 11, or even 25 minutes of 11, 25 minutes before 11. All right. Let's do 12. Let's go back to 1 o'clock. I'll make it easier. So we'll say it's 5 after 1, 10 after 1, quarter after 1, 20 after 1, 25 after 1, half past 1. All right? We can say it's somewhere before 2. How much before 2? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It's 25 minutes of 2. All right? Now it's only how many of 2? How many before 2? 5, 10, 15, 20. It's 20 of 2. Or it's 20 before 2. 20 minutes before 2. All this language people use. It's what of 2? It's quarter of 2. Okay? It's 10 of 2. All right? Here comes back to that original birthday party. It's 10 of 2. It's almost 2, but not quite. And we're going to have the surprise at 10 of 2. Not at 10:02. This would be 10:02. Look at how many hours. I'm going to look at this counts. This keeps track of how much time has passed. If you thought it was 10:02, but it really was 10 minutes before 2 or 10 of 2, that's a difference of 3 hours and 48 minutes. That's a lot of difference, okay? It's 10 of 2. That's when our surprise party is going to happen. So make sure you're here at 10 of 2, 10 minutes before 2 o'clock, because our birthday guest is walking in at 2 o'clock, and that's when we're going to say surprise. So it's 10 of 2. All right? Now it's 5 of 2. Now it's finally 2 o'clock, and we shout surprise. Now, getting back to this website, visnos.com, the link is on pattersonmusic.net, just below this video link. And if you know how to use this, these modes, you can tell yourself, you can see what time it is there. Either turn it off or turn it on, and only stick with the 12. Don't go to the 24-hour clock. That's like people in the army use that. Stick with the 12. But here's the real fancy thing. You can actually test yourself with this randomizer. Click it once and it gives you a random time. Let me give you a hint. As soon as you get a random time, this second hand, we never talked about this thin second hand, that's going to throw things off. Oh, let me turn this off here. Move the minute hand and line it up with something exactly so that the second hand sticks up at the top. It'll be easier that way. Now test yourself. Okay, what time is it? Well, it's after 6, so we're going to say it's 6 what? 6, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. It's 6:40. Let's see if I'm right. Yes, 6:40. Great. I'm going to turn that back off again, hit the random button again. And what do I want to do first? The first thing I want to do is just move that minute hand a little bit so we don't have to deal with seconds, okay? Oh, we're getting trickier now. It's 5 something, right? The hour hand is a little after 5, but look at the minute hand. It's not pointing to any of the big times. We can count 5, 10, 15, 20, but it's not 5:20. It's 5 what? 5:20, 5:21. It's going to be exactly 5:22. Do you see how I figured that out? There's the 5:20 mark. This is where it landed. It's 5:22. See if I'm right? 5:22. Yes. I'll turn that off again. Let's hit the randomizer again. I don't want the second hand to be there, so let's just move this a little bit. So now the second hand's not going to bother us, all right? Look where that is. the hour hand's after 3, so it's 3 something. It's almost 3:30. It's almost 3:30. But no, that minute hand is not exactly lining up perfectly with that 6. So it's 3:30 what? 3:31. See if I'm right? Yes, 3:31. Great. We'll do that one more time. Randomizer, hit it. Always remember after the randomizer, just move this minute hand a little bit so the second hand is not in our way. Oh, this is going to be a tough one. It's way over there. Let's see, is it 8 o'clock yet? No, not quite. The hour hand is pointing still after the 7, so it's 7 something. 7 what? 7:05, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Hopefully you don't have to count like that. Hopefully you know this was 7:45. So if it's here, 7:45, 7:46, 7:47, 7:48. Check it out. Yes, 7:48. I was right. Okay, I hope you'll use this. Test yourself. Don't forget to turn it off before you test yourself with a randomizer. And then once you do that, make sure you just move the minute hand a little bit so it kind of gets back. So this you don't have to worry about the second hand. Oh, it's 8:07. 8:07. Try this, folks. You should be able to tell time. If people invite you to big events, invite you to parties, if you want to show up on time for your classes, you want to say, hey, we're going to do a Google Meet together, and we're going to do it at 11:10. Well, if your clock says here, well, 11:10 is only 3 minutes away. You better get ready for your Google Meet because you need to know what time it is. Work on it, folks. Everybody should be able to tell time just by looking at that clock. And I want Patterson people to be able to do that. Thanks. Have fun. Bye.